So it's Monday. It's our not so favorite day of the week. And season 3, The Chi, is still rolling. Yesterday, episode 6 premiered entitled Woo Woo Woo. So let's have a chat and get all caught up on the episode. Talk to you soon. All right, so I hope you were able to tune in yesterday for episode 6, season 3 of The Chi. And let's just dig right in. It was a whole lot going on, and I want to start off by talking about Douda and Miss Candy. So Douda apparently does not have a really good relationship with his mom, and now I can kind of understand why he connects with Jake. It seems like he's been estranged from his mom, and his mom is played by the really good character that we remember from Tyler Perry's House of Pain. She did a really was she on House of Pain? Anyway, I liked her character on the Tyler Perry productions. You know, Tyler Perry does a really good job of reutilizing his character. She plays his mom, and she has some unflattering things to say about him in his political aspirations, and she is in fact running for his opponent. So at some point in the episode, you see that he deliberately tells Candy, or his wife, played by Candy, on the show to leave it alone, to not retaliate. And what does she do? She goes behind his back and does it anyway, and he kind of walks in on the tail of it. But apparently his mom can be brought, and what really got me is that among a number of things that his mom said, she was just like, you know, it's gonna take more than that to keep me quiet. So Candy had an amount that she put on paper, but she also had a stack of money that was off the record. We also see the opening scene is of Keisha. We see that she's still in captivity, but she is somewhat sad that her capturer was intrigued or fascinated by her. And he did allude to the fact that she resembles his, high school or school crush, in a sense that she looks like her. She has natural flowing hair. And what disappointed him is that I guess he made an advance toward her, and she declined on his offer, but took an offer of a football player or what have you. And her life resulted unfavorably. She ended up on welfare, had a bunch of kids or whatever. And he tells Keisha something along the lines of, I just want to save you from that, as if she needs somebody to save her from that. And chaining her up to a bed is not saving her from that. Why? He keeps her in his house for slavery purposes, and it's like a master servant type relationship. She has to call him daddy, and so I don't know if they're kind of trying to play with the whole R. Kelly situation a little bit. I don't know. So at one point in the episode, they're sitting at the table and he's making her eat, and then she kind of brushes his hand a little bit, and she requests to talk to her brother. It's Kev's birthday, and she really misses her brother and her family. I think she misses Kev more than she misses her mom. You can see her have flashbacks to conversations and situations that she's had with Kevin, and you also see the same thing on his end. So for Jake, we follow Jake, and he has returned back to Douda's house. He got a little spooked last time when he saw Douda go ham on this young man. So he's back at the house, and at one point his brother, I always call him Luke James. I know that's not his name on the show, but in my mind, he's Luke James. So Jake is at the house, and he's acting like he's bothered by the fact that his brother called him over there. And he's like, yeah, what's up? And he's like, hey, I know that our brother Reg had stashed away $50,000, and I don't need to know where it's at. And Jake is like, I don't know where it's at. So he kind of comes off very nonchalant, and it's like either A, he really doesn't know where it's at, or B, he doesn't care, Or C, he knows where it's at, but he just not telling you. Later on in the episode, they end up finding the money. And again, Jake is really nonchalant. They even get caught. One of Duda's goons, so to speak, comes out, catches them, and Luke James either kills him or he puts a pretty hefty beating on him to the point where he's almost dead. And so Jake just kind of made this comment, hey, that's Duda's, crew or whatever. He's like, I know. And then he makes the uncomfortable decision of telling Jake that Duda is responsible for Reg's death. Also, I liked at some point in their dialogue, he just told him, hey, I left for whatever reason, but I'm here now. And he tells him to hit him. And Jake hits him. And he was just like, so you got it out of your system? I don't want to have to cross that bridge again. So don't make me repay for something I've already done. I've done it. It's over with. We can't turn back the hands of time. Let's move forward. And I like that. Gemma came up in their discussion, and he's just like, I think that's when she texts Jake to tell him, hey, I'm having problems getting Kev over there for, the surprise birthday party that they knew about, but Kev didn't. And so, his brother just kind of say, hey, who's that? And he tells her, it's a girl. She's in my class. She's annoying. He was like, yeah, you like her, and you could kind of see that. So I wouldn't be surprised if later on in the series, something does develop between Jake and Gemma. I hope not for Kev's sake, but you know how it goes with young children. Emmett and Tiff really takes this business that she has seriously, and apparently she is a member of this really prestigious, secretive dispensary. And she's kind of like mother henish when it comes to their relationship. And she's all like, when we get in here, don't embarrass me. Don't do this. Don't do that. And what does he do? He embarrasses her. But it ended up being all good because little did they know the owner of the shop was Brandon's cousin. So they were able to make that connection. And I really like how Emmett is business oriented. He has an entrepreneurship spirit, and he's trying to put Tiff on game. So they make out a business ordeal, and we'll see how that pans out later on in the season. They just go back and forth, but I really hope for the sake of young love that they can work it out, because don't nobody else want Emmett. He done been with everybody, and I think Tiff is perfect for him because they understand each other, and all you're getting, get an understanding. That's what the Bible says, so move right along. Then we have Kev. So Kev is really having a hard time with not knowing where his sister is. Kev and Gemma, they're out on a little date, and Gemma is just like spoiling him for his birthday. And he's like, confronting her a little bit about a situation that happened at the skating ring. So when the two of them were at the skating ring, two little non-colored girls were in the skating ring, and they just kind of under their breath was talking about Keisha, and not saying anything bad, just saying, I hope somebody finds her or whatever. And so he overhears the conversation. He thought that it was maybe one of the guys, probably Jake, because Jake is the only one out of the three musketeers that still goes to his same school. So at the IHOP is where Gemma finally comes clean and says, hey, they knew about it because of me. So Kev did get upset, rightfully so. I mean, that is his sister. It's a sensitive topic. He misses her very much. And the way the young ladies were talking about it, it was more of like a girl, let me spill the tea type thing, and not like a genuine. But at the very end of the episode, we do see that Kev at least is having a decent birthday, as decent as it could be without his sister. Moving on, I wanted to save Ronnie for last. So Ronnie, during every episode, I find that I'm learning more and more about him. So this episode was good and bad, bittersweet. Ronnie took his grandma out on a date, And he is very charismatic in his own way. He is a ladies' man. Just like he sent the flowers to the recycle lady that's real thirsty. Even with that. So he takes his grandma out on a date. She gets all dolled up and dressed up. And we find out that there is a historic club called Foxy's or something like that, that his grandmother actually owns. And so, she's suffering from dementia. So in her mind, it's present day 1950 or 60 or whatever, and she has to go open up for a singer. So in her mind, she's like, hey, I don't want to be late. I got to open up for the singer. So we see that he takes her to the club. And I love the fact that even though it's not the same club that it was when she was the owner, they still had her pictures there. So when she came to visit, she saw something that resembled her life and what it used to be. And because her memory needs to be cherished and protected, the fact that she was able to see something that she identified with was absolutely sweet. So, now, I don't know what Fox's was back in the day, but now it's a gentleman's club for ladies to see the gentleman. So the gentleman was doing that thing, and what do you know? Grandma, she could remember very well. She could remember what a man looked like, what men do. She remembered that, and she don't remember nothing else. She remember how a man moved. That man was dancing on her, baby, and she told Ronnie, you might as well go. I'm good. Leave me here. And she remembered that. Cool. That was funny. I like that. So at the end of it, he takes her back to the senior living center or the retirement center or the nursing home where she lives. Before he takes her on the date, let me go back. He goes by that house, and I want to say, in my mind, it feels like he knocked on every door until he got to the area where he thought he heard Keisha, or he thought he heard screaming, and he just figured it was Keisha. So at the end of episode 5, it was the blackout, and Keisha did escape, but she didn't get very far. So Ronnie is back in that area. It's like the next day, and he's going door to door to see if he can find where that noise and screaming came from. So he does find the house. And this is another reason why I say that her kidnapper does have some type of heart, because Ronnie was basically like, man, look, I'm homeless. I really need to use the restroom. He did mention that he heard screaming come from this area the night before. He just wanted to check and see if everything's okay. And the guy lied and was like, yeah, my wife heard it. It was across the street. And he was like, well, while I have you here, I need to use it. So he rushes downstairs, and the kettle, when it gets hot, it whistles. The air and the steam that's coming out of the top whistles. So it was hard for him to distinguish, is this the kettle whistling that I hear, or is this her screaming that I hear? But Ronnie did a really good job of playing it off, and he was just like, I heard something, I don't know. Thanks him for allowing him to use his facilities, and then he leaves. And we don't see what Ronnie's next steps are back. And I think he's probably going to get Dre, because that's his little sidekick now. And I think that the two of them are going to come back. And I think that Keisha is going to do a better job of getting their attention. And I just hope that they can save her. So last but not least, like I said, after the date, Ronnie takes his grandma back to her nursing home, tucks her into bed, and she closes her eyes. It appears as though grandma has passed away. Oh God. So, child, now we gotta go to another funeral. I don't even have nothing else black to wear. I guess I'll wear the same thing I wore to Brandon's funeral. So anyway, I will see you next week, episode 7, and it just keeps getting better and better and better. Until then, y'all stay safe, wear your mask, hello, and I'll see you next week. Bye.